All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Chrissy Lepkowski, one of the directors of Tusker Travel. We wanted to welcome everybody to the meeting. And for my fellow directors, if you could introduce yourselves real quick.
Hi, I am Angela Holder. I've taught at the high school for over 20 years, and I recently made a switch. I don't know why. I don't tell anyone. No, I'm fine. It's fine. It's wonderful. To the high school, to the middle school. Sorry, I'm teaching seventh grade and eighth grade art, and I'm actually having a lot of fun. It's fun.
Chrissy?
Sure. I teach art at the high school. I don't even know if I have a face right now. Do I have a face?
You do. You do.
I do. Okay. And I teach art and fashion at the high school, and I know some of the kids that are on this list. I'm excited that so many people are here to figure out if they want to go with us on trips. I've been doing this, maybe for 10 years. My own kids have gone on the trips as a Somers student. It's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to share the world with your students.
Hi, I'm Anna Timone. I teach French and every once in a while Spanish at the high school. And this is my 20th year teaching at SHS. And I think our first trip actually was 2012. So it's been 12 going on 13 years.
Wow.
And
Quite a bit.
it's something that we're really passionate about. I traveled 10th, 11th, 12th grade when I was abroad when I was at Somers High School, and we're just thrilled that we get the opportunity to do this for our students as well.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'm Chrissy Lepkowski. I teach science and I'm an MIP coordinator at the high school. So welcome. This is our agenda. We're going to talk about the introduction, a little bit about our itineraries, what's included in the pricing, who we're partnering with, all of the safety and support that we have, as well as pricing and how to enroll. I will send this PowerPoint out in an email to everybody at the end of the night. And I'm also recording the Zoom. So if you missed it, or I have a friend or a family member that missed it, I will be posting it on the website by the end of the day tomorrow. Actually, probably tonight, because I usually can't wait. And if you have any questions at any point, feel free to unmute and jump in or put it in the chat and we'll answer them as they come through. We're also going to be spinning a wheel today for some extra discounts. All right. So to get started, we wanted just to introduce ourselves one more time, put some names to faces. The only director not here today is Mr. Milia. Again, we started this in 2016 after the Somers High School stopped doing their travel program, which was Somers Journeys, started by Chrissy Brooks and Anna Timone. And the kids still wanted to travel. They were really bummed that the program was kind of going away. So we decided to create our own nonprofit corporation, went to the lawyers, got the paperwork drawn up, and we started right away with our first trip in 2017. Just to clarify, we are not associated with Somers High School at all. But the good thing about that is we actually can bring students from other districts. So if you have friends or family in other high schools in the county, or even up north, I'm about an hour north of Somers, they're welcome to join us. However, Somers does support the program. So we have an arrangement with them where we can promote in the district and hold meetings because we have the insurance to support that. On the screen is also some of our social media. Best place to look is definitely Facebook and Instagram. It's where all of our promotional information goes out about upcoming meetings. And also, if you haven't seen it, the Tusker Travels website. Our mission is to promote global citizenship, which does line up really nicely with the Somers mission. We like to instill confidence and independence. A lot of kids have traveled before with their families, but it's different when you don't have a parent there to hold your passport or tell you where you're going or what time, that they have to figure it out on their own, set their own alarms, make sure they have something to eat. And it's really a good way for them to develop that self-advocacy, especially before college. We like to explore famous sites, learn the education behind what we're doing, and it creates these amazing memories and bonds and friendships. They are ambassadors of our town, of our county, of our state, and of our country when we go across overseas. And it really does expand their horizons over to other cultures. So the pictures on the screen are from the school visit in Costa Rica back in 2000 and I think 20. Actually, yes, we got home from Costa Rica right before the pandemic hit. And the kids said out of all the activities, zip lining, whitewater rafting, on this trip we had a school visit and the kids said that was the best thing they'd done. They got to interact with kids. We brought them school supplies. They spoke the language. It was really a fantastic opportunity. Some of the trips we've done in the past are on the screen. We've taken well over 500 travelers on trips throughout the years. We usually run one trip a year, sometimes two. Some, outrageous destinations like Thailand and Australia, Iceland. We often go back to France and lots of trips to Italy. So these are just a couple of samples of the places that we've been. If you have some young students, keep in mind that the trips do change every year. We do cycle back to some of our go-tos, but we do, introduce new locations each year, hence the Japan trip that we're running in 27. These are just some of the testimonials we've received from parents who've sent students on trips with us. Just to highlight a couple, and again, I'll send this to you later if you want to review this. A couple that I wanted to point out. Extremely excellent trip with dedicated and conscientious chaperones. This was the most amazing experience for my sons. They had an incredible time. A couple people had mentioned that they want their other kids to make sure they experience trips with Tusker Travels. Another one mentioned that hit their son at a great time, that the chaperones were very nice, treated the kids like adults, couldn't have gone better. So we have some really great parents. Some of you are already on the Zoom who have sent your children with us. We thank you for trusting us with them. We know that it is difficult to, realize that your kids are going overseas with someone that you might not know that well. But we have a really strict program. We have a lot of rules and regulations in place to make sure that things are safe and running well. And a lot of parents have brought their students back, sometimes for 3 or 4 trips in their high school experience. So that just shows that they trust us with their children, and we have some great experience behind us. For eligibility, any students who are at grades 9 through 12 in Somers during the time of the trip can travel with us. So you can enroll as a 7th grader for a trip that's 2 years ahead. If you are bringing a friend or family member from a different school district, they need to be in grades 10 through 12 at the time of the trip and be in good academic and behavioral standing. We don't want it to be just students that can pay for the trips can come. We want to make sure that they have the behavior and maturity to take on this responsibility. So part of the application I'll review later is character references that they send to teachers, where we review their maturity, their behavior, things like that. The role of Tusker Travels within this entire program is to come up the itineraries, partner with our tour company, which is EF Tours, and be the liaison between the two. Certain things you'll be contacting the tour company for, specifically the payments and things along that nature. But we also collect medical information, review medical needs of each traveler. We bring a nurse on most trips. We have a very low 5-to-1 or 6-to-1 chaperone ratio, and our chaperones are on duty 24 hours a day. We also arrange for a coach bus to pick students up in Somers. We usually meet at Van Tassel or Reese Park, Fireman's Field, a location that's close, so that parents don't have to get their kids to the airport. You just meet us at the bus. We organize tour t-shirts. Mrs. Brooks does a great job creating custom shirts for each trip. Kind of serves as a memento. Actually, a lot of the chaperones wore those on Tourist Tuesday. And we also have additional liability insurance through Tusker Travels. And the last one here, which I always kind of joke about, is photographers. When students are with us, usually so kind of involved in what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, they sometimes forget to contact their parents and touch base and share what's happening. So we take pictures of all the students throughout the trip. We post them on social media, on our Instagram and Facebook. And I've always found that parents are really excited to see what's happening on a day-to-day, because sometimes their kids are just living in the moment, as they should, and they don't necessarily relay that information back home. So we have a cluster app, which is where we dump photos so parents can go on at any time and see what we're doing each day. I do want to talk about pricing. So later on today, I'm going to tell you the pricing for each of the trips. Please know there's a different separate fee for Tusker Travels, which is the $500, which is due about 4 months prior to departure. The purpose of that supplemental fee is to arrange for the tour bus, the t-shirt, the extra insurance, administrative fees, extra tour tips, extra bus tips, a local tour guide. So all of that is included in that supplemental fee.
The tips are a big one. Wherever we travel, there's always a tour guide and basically a liaison to whatever we see, and it's an expert, and they require their own separate tips. So rather than collecting all at once, it's all included in the supplemental fee.
And what's nice is the students don't have to worry about tipping. We handle all of that ourselves. Takes that responsibility off of them. So why educational travel? So for the first one, it introduces students new ways to learn. We go to museums, we go to educational experiences while on tour. It gives them that hands-on opportunity, allows them to interact with the world, and has that academic component to it. These are not just fun travel tours, they're educational tours specifically. And it gives them that lifelong connection to a passion. And I have to say, I didn't do educational travel until I went on the Galapagos trip with the last trip the school ran. And I'm now obsessed. This is like my full-time passion and dream. I already have a plan to retire eventually, and work for EF. It is truly a dream of mine to run these trips for kids, to see the experiences they have outside the classroom, and then to have that relationship with them in school. So I've fully invested my time and energy towards this because I know how much it makes a
And
difference.
so much so, let me just jump in here, that she was nominated a global ambassador this year from EF because of that. So kudos to Miss Lepowski.
Yep. So I'll be helping other school districts enroll students in these tours and kind of becoming almost an advisor to new tour leaders and going on training tours to help other new tour leaders that are running these trips kind of adopt some of the philosophies that we have from Tusker Travels and share best practices. Because I truly believe every student deserves this opportunity to go, and then it should be run well. And you'll see throughout the night that we have run a very well-oiled machine, and I feel like that I want to share that expertise with everybody. Speaking of that, these are some other schools in our area that are also traveling with the F. You'll notice a lot of them are nearby. So this is something that is very prevalent in the county. It is very trustworthy. I'm sure if you talk to teachers or friends in other districts, you'll hear about international trips happening in those other districts. We are a little bit different where we've created our own company to kind of handle that and to deal with all the forums and liaison work. So when students come home, they come home with this growth mindset, global perspective, and they really have kind of a dedication and an action to what they're doing, and it has an impact on them. Whether it's the time that they have free in a city for an hour to go navigate, I feel like most parents are most nervous about that free time. Students navigate. You don't give them enough credit, I tell you. Even as a teacher, we tend to underestimate what these kids can do. They're very impressive. They know how to navigate. They know where they go. And they really do dive into the culture and enjoy all the experiences that we put forward. It's really amazing to watch. We partner with EF. There are plenty of other tour companies out there, and I will say we have dabbled with some of those, but we keep coming back to EF for many reasons. First thing is they have this plethora of resources out there. They have over 55 years of experience. And what's really nice is they have this wonderful global presence where they have staff on the ground 365 days a year, and they have offices in over 50 countries, specifically one of them being Panama, which is where Costa Rica and Panama will be going to. We'll be flying out of Panama City. Angela Holder and I actually went on a trip this summer in Thailand with EF, and we met a representative from the Panama office. So we have a direct connection there. So they have hands on the ground everywhere and 24-hour customer service when kids are on tour. So if for some reason you couldn't reach us, which you will because you have our phone number, you could call EF at any time, 24 hours a day while students are on tour. They are a world leader in international education, and they are also an accredited school. So students can get high school credit, which I'll talk about in a minute. The way that they run their safety program is really important. There is local support, worldwide support. They're tracking everything that's going on in the world and deciding if destinations are safe or unsafe. We have the peace of mind program, which means if there's an issue going on in a location that we're heading towards, we can actually change our location and change our tour to avoid those areas if needed. They have very rigorous health standards for all of the restaurants and the hotels that they partner with. They have a response team, incident response team. My biggest piece here is the 24-hour tour director. So we get a tour director for each trip. Most often, they usually live in those countries. Some of them even live in the cities that we're touring to. They are not allowed to go home. So we had a tour director in Sydney, Australia. He lived in Sydney. He did not go home the entire 2 weeks until we left for the airport. They are with us 24 hours a day. They stay at the hotels with us. They speak the languages most of the time that we're in. So they are really our biggest resource and are full on contact with EF. So educational partner, I mentioned this before, you can acquire 0.5 high school credits to do a high school, college, or high school program. You would end up getting a transcript through EF, and you would submit that with your high school transcripts from Somers. So it's a different transcript, but you would send it to your colleges. It involves creating a video or writing a paper on a research question that you work on during the trip. We had one student do this in Ireland, Scotland, and our tour director spent hours with him on the bus, giving him information, helping him write the paper, giving him the information that he would need. EF also offers college essay. Just an idea.
It's a very immersive program, and it really is a world school. And so it's the greatest classroom there actually is. It's amazing.
Before I keep going, do we have any questions that need to go in the chat while we're looking for questions? Let's just pause for a minute and spin this wheel real quick. So
Oh, yay.
EF also, I pulled some strings at EF. I pulled some strings and was able to allow us to get a couple different discounts throughout the afternoon. So what's going to happen is when I spin this wheel, I'm going to write down everyone whose names come up throughout the afternoon, and you'll get an additional $50 discount after you enroll. So let's take a look and see who we get. If you notice that your child is not on the list, please let me know and we can add them. Just put it in the chat. So our first winner is Lauren Castillo. Excellent. And you know what? We'll do one more while we're here. See who else can get an extra discount. While we're spinning the wheel, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. And it looks like it's Claire Cronin.
Yay, Lauren and Claire.
All right, whose sister has actually traveled with us twice already. All right, so let's continue on here. All right, so our support partners, we have our travel team, which is our group leader. Sean is our representative from EF. I text him, call him. We're pretty much on an everyday communication basis. If we need anything, I reach out to him. He's my liaison or our liaison. You have your tour director who's with us 24 hours a day. You've got the entire EF support team, and then myself or Ms. Holder, Ms. Brooks, or Ms. Timone, whoever is your group leader for that tour. Making it happen. So kind of like a GoFundMe page. Once you enroll in the tour, each child will get a tour donation page, which is customizable, that you can share out to social media. You can send to family and friends to maybe collect money towards your trip for holidays or birthdays. So you can also get donations in that way. There is some scholarship information. If you want more of that, I can send that out if you email me directly. And then what you get with this program is all of the itinerary, the logistics, multiple different payment options. There's manual payments, monthly payments. You can customize which date the payments come out. We also have built into the price some travel protection for you. Risk-free enrollment, we'll talk about that in a minute. You get all of the safety and support we talked about before, and then that personalized learning opportunity. All right. So at this point, Ms. Timone, why don't you jump in and talk briefly about France? We have 2 spots left for our France trip this April.
Yeah, so I will keep it brief. This is usually we don't repeat exact itineraries because we like to change it up. And this is an itinerary we've done before. We did this itinerary in 2018. And it was so fabulous. And we just wanted to do it again. So we start in Paris. And then we're going to take the TGV, which is the super, super fast train down to Provence. And we'll go to Avignon and Nîmes. And Arles, and then from there we're heading over to the French Riviera, where we'll be based in Nice, but we'll be spending some time in Èze. We're also going to do a half day in Monaco. And then these are some bubbles that kind of hit up some of the highlights. In Paris, we'll see most of the monuments. We will be going to the Louvre. We will be visiting Versailles, which is outside of Paris, and a Seine River cruise, which is amazing. And typically we take that in the evening as the sun is setting, and then we can take pictures of all the monuments. The students love it because they're lit up at night and they're really gorgeous. If you want to go to the next page, I think we can see. Yeah, maybe
Too far. There you go. Oh,
I think well, I think you might just have the first half of the.
I'll put the map up for you.
That's okay. Anyway, so when we go down to Avignon, the Pont du Gard is a Roman aqueduct, and it's so old. It's over 1,000 years old, and we can walk across it, and it's just enormous. You can't even believe that they built this. And then we'll be 2 nights in Provence, and we'll be staying in Avignon. So a little free time here and there. Probably in Arles one day for lunch and in Avignon one day for lunch. Monaco will probably be a lunch break as well, and then Nice. And in Nice, we'll be doing a variety of activities, but also little day trips from Nice is our main spot, and traveling in the region of the French Riviera, and we'll fly home from Nice. There is an extension if you do see the itinerary to extend it to a 12-day trip. That doesn't work for spring break. So you can kind of just ignore that, and we will be taking the 9-day trip, not the 12-day one.
Yes, we're just not allowed to miss days of school. It's part of our agreement. Excellent. Yeah. So there are 2 spots left. If you're interested in enrolling, make sure you get that done as soon as possible because those spots will fill quite quickly. If you don't get on that trip, we will add you to the wait list. And if for some reason somebody drops out, you'll be the next one added on. All right. Thank you, Ms. Timone. We'll go through the Costa Rica itinerary, then we'll spin the wheel again and check everybody, make sure everyone's names are on there. So Costa Rica, really important that you understand that the enrollment deadline for this one is October 27th. It's a very hard deadline because the trip is running in February break. And if you miss that deadline, we can't guarantee you'll be on the same flight. So it's kind of our hard deadline to make sure your application is in by then. So just to give you a little bit of that itinerary, we're starting in Costa Rica and we're moving our way towards Panama at the end. I do have to jump in. I have a very personal connection to Costa Rica. I ran the 2020 trip, which for some kids was the last trip that they had before COVID, and their senior year was essentially over. So a lot of kids were so thankful that they were there. And I also brought my family there this summer, my two little kids. We loved it. We saw howler monkeys and all sorts of wildlife. It's really an incredible place. Honestly, I think there's more wildlife in Costa Rica than you get to see even in Galapagos. So to talk a little bit about this itinerary, we're going to fly to San Jose. We'll meet our tour director at the airport. We're going to go to Cartago, and there we'll do a bit of a walking tour. We're going to visit a banana farm. We're going to head to the beach, go to this national park. We're going to do some snorkeling. Some of my favorite things about this itinerary, it's very active. You can tell I like to do the very extreme adventurous itineraries. So we're going to do a dance class, a cooking class. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to do the hanging bridges where we're walking through the forest and the canopies, a drumming lesson and performance. We're going to go to an indigenous village and a cacao tour to see how they make chocolate from cacao. We're going to do kayaking at the beach, zip lining as well, whitewater rafting, and then we end in Panama City and fly home. So some of the key points there are the zip lining, which is always one of the top activities to do. Actually, the best experience zip lining in Costa Rica last time. Snorkeling, you'll get to see all the amazing wildlife in the ocean. Then we've got the cacao tour with chocolate tasting. Who doesn't love chocolate? And then we have the food. So EF really makes sure that they include local food and indigenous food on our plates and our menus. We tell them all the time, our kids don't want to eat American food on tour. They want to eat the local food. I will say in Costa Rica, you will really get to know rice and beans and chicken.
I'm going to chime in. The
Go for it.
food in Costa Rica, I think, was some of the best food we've had on tour. Some of the fresh fruit at every meal. The rice and beans, honestly, if you've never had rice and beans with a fried egg, you're missing out. So good.
Great. Fried plantains. It is very local. It is fantastic. I agree. The fruit is above and beyond. So fresh. All right, so the dates for Costa Rica, February 15th to 23rd, so it's spring break of this coming year. Again, the hard deadline for that is October 27th to enroll, and again, I'll talk about the enrollment process at the very end. Now, when we get to the pricing in just a second, I want you to understand what's included in that. So the round trip airfare is included, all of the hotels, all of the meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some itineraries, the lunches are not included because they want the kids to experience, be able to dabble with what they enjoy. However, in Costa Rica, we're in some very remote locations, so it can be difficult to find lunch. So lunch will be included in Costa Rica. So the only thing additional you'll need to supply as far as money is just for souvenirs. Our tour director is included in that, all of the transportation, our tour guides, which they do provide specific expert tour guides at a lot of the locations, all the sightseeing opportunities, all the entrances to the landmarks and attractions is included in the pricing. What this families are responsible for is making sure you have a passport, that it's up to date. Oops, sorry, that it is not expiring within 6 months. And that's a big one. So if our tour is in February, add 6 more months to that. The passport needs to be valid until then. It's a requirement for all the international travel that we do. Baggage fees is up there, but honestly, we've never had an issue, well, except for maybe some chaperones that shop a little bit too much. On baggage fees, you get 1 free bag international as well as your carry-on. The tips, I know it says you're responsible for them, but that is part of your supplemental fees for Tusker Travels. So it's just any extra snacks or any souvenirs. All right, so you do get that peace of mind program, as I mentioned before. Included in the pricing is also the global travel protection, which covers baggage, property, trip cancellation, interruption. You do have an option when you enroll to upgrade to the Global Travel Protection Plus for the additional $400, which allows for cancel for any reason. Now, there still is a little bit of money you could lose depending on how late you cancel, but there's different guidelines for the different insurances, and I'll show you on the website where you can find information about what's included in both of those protection packages.
I highly recommend the extra insurance. You never know what's going to happen, especially if you're taking a trip on someone that's in middle school still, and so it's years out. it's really a great peace of mind. You can cancel for any reason. You really just only lose your deposit, and it's a very minimal fee in comparison to what it could be.
Excellent. And for right now, there's a risk-free enrollment days. You have 7 days to enroll for a full 100% refund. So if you sign up tonight and you lock in your spot, you have 1 week to cancel with full refund back. We talked about the fundraising pages already. We talked about the logistics when we did the France trip. So here is the pricing for Costa Rica. And again, it is enrollment ends on October 27th. Sorry. So the full price is $4,209. Now, depending on when you enroll, it'll auto calculate your monthly payments or a biweekly payment, which includes the $95 enrollment fee. And we're also, this price represents a $100 early enrollment discount. Okay. So let's pause here for a second. We went through all the logistics of Costa Rica. Let's run and spin that wheel. I just want to double check that everyone is on the wheel, and then we'll move on to our next itineraries. I believe I have everybody. Julian, Rosa, yes. All right. Cano and Mia's on there. Yep. And I believe Meadow. Yep. I remember copying all these names in. All right, perfect. We should be good to go. While we're spinning the wheel, if anyone has any questions, go ahead and drop those in the chat for us. Trevor Kyman.
Yay, Trevor.
Thanks. So let's head back and take a look at some of the other opportunities we have coming up. So after Costa Rica, the next one I wanted to talk about is, here we go. This was, all right, Italy, Greece. So this is the brand new one that we just announced. It's called the Ancient Mediterranean on the EF account. We're calling it Italy and Greece. So you're aware of where we are going. All right, which is Rome, Sorrento, Delphi, and Athens. It's a 10-day tour. And Chrissy or Angela, sorry, give me 1 second. Can one of you guys take over and run this one real quick? My girl decided to come by and say goodnight.
Okay, so we did do a version of this a few years ago, but this one's a little bit different. And Chrissy, being the global ambassador, kind of customized this trip. So we'll start out with 3 days in Rome. We do have an excursion that's included. After the 3 days in Rome, we are going to see Pompeii. And I am so excited about that. That is like in our teacher's dream. We're going to be heading over to, it looks like, I think we might maybe going to Sorrento, which I'm hoping I'm going to get some good cheese there. We're going to do 1 night there in the region. And then we're heading to Delphi. That would be in Greece. And we're going to be taking, I think we're taking the ship, right? We're taking the large cargo ship.
So we're slated right now to take the night ferry, depending on the logistics of when we're going. It might be a flight, but right now I'm kind of crossing my fingers for a night ferry. I've never done one.
Yes.
And then after we'll land in Patras and then go from there to Delphi to Athens.
The night ferries are fun because you go to bed on a moving little motion there, a little bit of a ship, and then the next day you wake up and you're, ta-da, you're in Greece. So we'll spend 1 night in Delphi and then travel over to Athens. And then you can go to the next one, head on back. So like I said, 2 days in Italy, meeting our tour director. There's always a tour director on call. They are staying with us the whole time. They're basically boots on the ground. We're going to be exploring Rome, seeing all the cultural experiences Rome has to offer. Then we're heading to the smallest city in the world. We're going to, or country rather, going to Vatican City. We've done this actually last year. It was really, truly an amazing experience to see Vatican City and actually see all of the art, all of the opulence. Oh, I mean, the stuff there is 2,000 years old. It's amazing. We're heading over to obviously the Sistine Chapel, the basilicas. We'll take day 4, we'll take a guided tour of Rome. Most of those guided tours are with local tour guides that really give you the flair, the culture, the educational experience you're really looking for. And that is on foot and it's quite amazing. We'll be heading over to the Colosseum. Truly another landmark, chance of a lifetime to go see the actual Colosseum. And with the movie coming out, I highly recommend kids see the movie. I know that's fiction, but it's certainly really amazing to see and then go see it for real life. And then we're going to be heading over and traveling to the coast. Keep going. You can
Also too, I want to mention, which is very exciting for me, the Roman catacombs is the underground tombs. We're going there also in Rome, which is something I've never done. I'm very excited about. Got the Trevi Fountain, Spanish Steps. I've combed through this itinerary for so many hours, I could probably regurgitate the whole thing.
talk about the boat trip because that's new and I don't know much about that.
Okay.
And I'm very excited you put that in.
Yeah, so Capri is an area in Sorrento. We're going to take a boat to Capri. You're going to see the Blue Grotto and go take a tour of the Blue Grotto. We're going to see the island of Capri. I know, Chrissy Brooks, you've been there before. It's a smaller island. It looks absolutely magnificent, something I've never done either. Um, Pompeii, as you mentioned, Miss Holder, I've been there before. It's absolutely breathtaking. It's so intriguing. The tour there is amazing, just to learn about the history, and especially being a science teacher, the volcano that happened. The whole guided tour is fantastic. Then we have that overnight ferry to Greece, travel to Delphi, where we're going to do another archaeological site, kind of almost a
I
Pompeii.
mean, amazing ancient ruins that have been there for thousands of years.
Yep. We're going to go to Athens. We'll see the Olympic Stadium. We'll visit the Acropolis. There's a whole list of things we're going to tour and see in Athens. We're also going to do a Greek evening. And last time we did Greece in, I think, 2018, we did a Greek evening where you're dancing and you're singing, they're breaking the plates everywhere. It was such a fun experience.
Don't
So
forget the olive oil and feta cheese.
yes. And then we travel back home. And I have to say that the gyros in Greece, fantastic.
Amazing.
So we see all of the art and the ancient history there. See the Parthenon, the Acropolis. All right, Trevi Fountain, Spanish Steps, and obviously the food. Amazing. All the pasta, the gyros, the gelato. It's fantastic. So this trip is spring break of 2026, anticipated March 27th to April 5th. That will change if the school calendar changes for Somers. Right now, I know last year they switched where the spring break happened before or after Easter. So if it changes, we will move those dates to align to the calendar. Again, same thing, airfare, hotels, meals. In this one, breakfast and dinner are included, so students have the opportunity to dabble with that, whatever they like for lunch. I'm just chuckling because I saw a comment come in about an adult trip, which is ironic because we are actually talking about doing an adult trip in 2027, and most of the parents we've talked to want to do Greece. So stay tuned. It will be our first adult tour for 18 and up. We're really excited about it. We're going to start looking at itineraries soon. So be in mind, it'll be summer of 2027, most likely. So thank you for throwing that in there. I do have to say a lot of parents travel with their spouse or friends while we take their kids on these tours. So if you want to go away or, just need something to do, we'll take your children and you can go enjoy yourselves.
Good time to go.
Yes. So transportation, etc. So we already saw these slides are the same as the ones for Costa Rica. Again, the travel protections included. You can upgrade to the plus, and again, that risk-free enrollment. So all you would need to pay right now is the $95 deposit to lock in your spot. Now, I did sort of leak the enrollment for Italy and Greece early. I didn't mean to. I got ahead of myself. I got excited. Some kids found out about it early. It's fine. But I just want to let you know, as of this afternoon, we had 16 kids already enrolled in Italy, Greece. It is flying off the shelves. So just don't wait. Within that 7 days, you do have that risk-free cancel.
So the 95 days will, $95 rather, will lock in your spot on EF, and then you'll have to get in all your paperwork to make sure you're guaranteed on the trip, etc. It is a good trip to go on because you do have a longer time. And also, if you have a child in 8th grade, they'll be eligible for 2026 for this one.
Excellent. Perfect. That's a great point. So fundraising page, we talked about those already. And again, these slides are for each trip. So it doesn't change. We get the same options and inclusions and things on all of our tours. So for the pricing on this one, because it's a year out, there's a $200 early enrollment discount. So the prices you're going to see on the screen are with that $200 discount. That $200 discount ends on October 31st for Italy and Greece. So any trips for 2026 or 2027, you have until the end of the month to get that lowest price, and then it'll go up additional $200. So these are the prices for Italy, Greece, if you enrolled for biweekly payments, monthly, or paid in full, which again, there's that manual plan. All right, so briefly, I'm going to talk about Japan. It is a bit of a ways out, but the reason why we're doing this so early is because it is a little bit pricier. We are going, 13 plus hours overseas. So I thought it was important that we offer this early for people that might need more time to pay, because it is cost, a little bit costlier because of the distance. So just to run through this will be spring break 2027. It's 10 days. I probably spend I don't know, 24 hours of my life diving through the Japan itineraries. They're awesome. I've talked to so many people that have went. This tour is the most hands-on tour you can get of Japan. It is the experience tour. So we're going to do lots of activities. So we're going to go into Tokyo for 2 nights, go to Kawanza for 2 nights, Takayama, Kyoto, and Osaka. So a little bit about this one, we're going to fly overnight. We're going to go to the Cup Noodles Museum where kids can customize their own cup of noodles. We're going to go to the Kyoto and do a tour of the Fushimi shrine. I apologize for my pronunciation. We're going to take a walk along this river. There is the expert tour in Kyoto. We're going to visit a bunch of temples. We're going to do this Japanese tea ceremony and a meditation experience, which I've heard is fantastic. Then we're going to go to the Kanazawa Castle. One of my favorite things that drew me to this itinerary was the chopsticks. So we're going to make our own gold leaf chopsticks. We're going to take the bullet train to Tokyo, another really cool experience, and then tour Tokyo and then travel home. So there's a lot of, oh, and we're adding in a karaoke experience. Apparently that's the go-to thing to do there. So we've already added in an activity to do karaoke. We'll do all sorts of different little mini things while on some of our free time together. But it is definitely the most hands-on version of Japan that I could find. So
Miss
especially,
Holder's gonna love that.
who is that?
Miss Holder's gonna love the karaoke.
Yes. So there's also in Osaka, I believe it's Osaka, there's a traditional hotel where students actually sleep like they do in Japan, or I believe part of their history. And they're almost like big bean bags. And I think there's like 20 kids to a room, and it's a traditional experience. They dress in the typical wardrobe for dinner, and it's this entire cultural experience. And I believe it's Osaka. If not, it's Kyoto. There's also the night markets and the morning markets we're going to go to. Miss Holder and I have been to Thailand twice together. We are obsessed with Southeast Asia. Cannot wait to see Japan and see the differences. If you have never been to Asia, this will not disappoint. I am telling you, Asia is so ironically different than where you've been. It is out of control. It is so awesome. So I really do recommend this one. So I got a question about payments, if you can pay more on certain months or is it specific amounts. If you do the automatic payments, the bi-weekly or monthly, it is the same amount per month. But there's an option for a manual plan where you can choose how much you pay and pay different amounts at different times. There is a couple deadlines with the manual plan where certain things have to get paid, certain amounts by certain times, but you have more flexibility with that manual plan. And before we go, I will show you where you can get the information on the different payment plans too. Great question. All right, so this is an example of the tea ceremony. These are some of the beautiful temples that we're going to see. This is one of the Zen temples in Kyoto, the Golden Pavilion it's called. And again, the food. Oh my gosh, the hibachi, the sushi, the cultural experience. It is going to be something that Tusker Travels has never done. So this is not a location we've ever done before. This is a once in a lifetime, first time we're doing it. It's going to be fantastic. So this one is Spring Break 2027. Again, anticipated dates, but they will change if the calendar changes. Same thing, airfares included, hotels are included. And again, just like Greece and Italy, breakfast and dinner are included so that students have the opportunity to explore lunch on their own and kind of dabble in whatever cuisine they're feeling for that day. These are all the same. Again, risk-free enrollment. You can add the additional protection plan and you can lock in your spot today with a $95 deposit. And that's the fundraising page. All of these we've seen before. So for Japan, $200 enrollment discount is already included in this price. So the price you're seeing today is the lowest that it will be. Prices do go up over time as you get closer to the tour. So the earlier you can lock in your pricing, the better. And again, those discounts will drop off at the end of October. All right, so let's pause for a second before we go into enrollment and let me just spin that wheel and see if we have questions. All right, so while I'm pulling up the wheel, we can type in any questions we might have. We'll do it twice. So some of the big things I want to mention is the nurse. We should probably touch on that too before we also talk about how to register. Smira, oh, one of my Tusker 101 students. Awesome. And let's do, pull her out. That's right.
Do you want me to cover the nurse?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll wait for your spinning.
And after enrollment, we'll do 2 more. Okay.
Yay.
Excellent. So Shane Carroll. All right, Mrs. Brooks, go for it.
Okay. So the nurse is usually someone who's either worked at our school or sometimes is related to one of us. My mother and my sister, well, one's a nurse, the other one's a nurse practitioner. We've had the SIS nurse before. Years ago, we had the Primrose nurse. We have had nurse substitutes from the high school. So sometimes they're people that already know of your students. But usually after you fill out the medical forms, they are reviewed by the nurse. Those medical forms include like what kinds of medications you take. Are you free to take them on your own? Are there any emergency issues or medications or allergies, both to food, which is dealt with on the food side at on tour, but also so that the nurse is aware of it and we're aware of it. Then the nurse makes some phone calls in the weeks approaching the trip, so that any clarification that's needed or further information that would give a little more of a view of, how long maybe some of those medications have been, or if there's any outstanding things they should know about, to just get a little more background. And the nurse, if there's a higher risk somebody, the nurse is usually placed in the group with that person. Like the nurse is one of the tour leaders too, so each of us gets kind of 7 kids to or five or 6 kids to hang out with and get to know really well. And so sometimes they are with the nurse if there's somebody that we're worried about a medical situation, but also that changes up as the tour goes on. If someone gets sick, we might shuffle people around, or also sometimes that leaves if we're at a hotel for multiple days and someone has a medical need, like they have a stomach virus, that the nurse can stay back and tend to them and we can reshuffle the groups. Anyway, it's something that we've always thought was important. They can, if someone's not feeling well, they can consult the nurse to see what they should be taking. We do
It's really
carries.
been a great precautionary measure, and someone that has really helped out. There has been trips where, like a 24-hour bug happens and the nurse is there to take care of them. I mean, it's like their mom away from home who has the medical bag and they're ready to fix it. It's excellent.
Yeah.
So on our larger trips, we always take a nurse. Some of the small ones, not as much. We are all certified, or I know I am certified in first aid, CPR, etc. But it is really nice, regardless if a nurse comes with us or not. They review all of the medical. They might call you to talk about medications. Students will all self-carry their medications, but we will check in with them. And dietary restrictions is a big one. EF is really dedicated to making sure students can eat what's provided, but with special regulations. So gluten-free, egg allergy, nut allergy, you name it, an allergy, we've probably had it on our tour, not a problem. So just let us know. There is a medical form we send out about 2 to 3 months, maybe even 4 months prior to the trip. We'll collect all that information. So just know when you do enroll your child, everything will be communicated via email until 2 weeks before the trip. About 2 to 3 weeks before departure, we do an in-person meeting. So if you haven't seen us face to face and just be an email, that is common until that very last meeting. And emails do ramp up as we get closer. So for the first, if you're looking at 2026, we probably won't get many emails out until the fall of next year. That's when more information will come out and you'll start to really hear from us. So don't be alarmed if you haven't heard from us in a few months. It's really the last few months that we communicate a lot and send out more forms.
Chrissy, one of the questions in the group chat is about how many students will be going. Are most of these trips maxing at 40?
I would say so. I mean, Costa Rica's a little bit smaller. France, we maxed out at 40. Italy, it looks like we'll probably max out at 40. There is an opportunity throughout EF to do a double bus, like 2 buses, but we tend to not do those. We like to max it out with 1 full bus. And again, a 5-to-1 or 6-to-1 chaperone ratio with our nurse.
And it is mixed grades. We never know who is coming from what grade level. So unless your student gets their friends to go or you kind of pair up, it's any smattering of mixture of grades. With saying that, I just ran into some kids who are like 25 right now that came on our Australia trip. And at the time, my son it was the summer, so he was between 8th and 9th grade. And one of them always asks, like, I saw her and she's like grown up. She was sitting at a bar and she was like, how's Kieran? And so it kind of doesn't matter what grade they're in. They really do make friends with people that are on the trip. And it's like a very interesting, a mixture of friendliness and just a willingness to talk to people who aren't in your friend group at school and maybe you've never even seen before, that become friends and invite you to hang out after a long day. So it's a nice opportunity to go outside your comfort zone with your own people.
I'm going to touch on rooming. I know we haven't gotten many questions this time, but a couple questions that usually come up is rooming. So about 2 to 3 months prior, we'll send out a rooming form where students can pick 5 people on the trip, and we'll give you the list of who's going that they would like to room with. And it is the bane of my existence, but I will spend hours of my life making sure the rooming is as perfect as can be. So we'll room them with somebody on their list. Rarely, if we get all doubles, does it sort of complicate things. But rooming will be different each hotel. You might think that you could spend 10 full days with your best friend. By 10 days of spending, 24 hours with your best friend, you might need a little break. So we build in those breaks where you're changing students around with other people on their friends list. Sometimes we might be driving to Rome and all of a sudden we find out that the rooming changed and the breakdown is different, and here I am playing with the puzzle pieces on the bus. So we make sure we put our full effort into making sure students are happy and comfortable with rooming because we know it's important to them. It is a little tricky and it is kind of a big moving pieces, but we do our best to accommodate. And at night before we go to bed, we set a bed check time and chaperones will walk around and touch base with every single room. We will see every single student in that room before we say goodnight. We give them all the things that they need to know for the next day, all the rules, the fact that they're not allowed to leave their rooms. They will know exactly where all the chaperones are staying in the hotel in the Remind chat. They'll get the room number of the nurse and they know they're not allowed to leave that room after room checks. So that is a big piece of safety that we instill in them. There is absolutely no leaving after room checks, and you will see an adult's face and we will see every single child before we go to bed. With that being said, let's get to how to enroll, because I'm sure many of you are here waiting for that piece of information. So in order to enroll, here are the steps. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the tour company enrollment form. So let me just change the sharing settings on this so that you can see it. All right, so the tour company enrollment form is on our website and it breaks it down by tour. The tour company enrollment form is the link to EF, to the tour company. When you get to the tour company enrollment form for the trip that you're looking to go on, it will give you what is covered, it'll give you the itinerary, there's information for parents on here, there's videos, what's included. EF gives you all the information you might need, and you click enroll now. This is where you're going to sign up for the tour and lock in your spot to register. Sign up in whatever language that you need, and this is where you're going to determine your payment plan. Do you want manual, bi-weekly, monthly? And you'll also decide here if you want to upgrade to that insurance package. But you absolutely need to do this step first. Complete the tour company enrollment form. Once you've set up your payments, you're officially locked in on a spot, but there is more things you need to do to confirm your enrollment. The second thing is to complete the Tusker Travels application. So in this application, it brings you to a Google Doc or Google form. You'll enter in some information. It's a little lengthy. It talks about t-shirt size, what grade are you in? Do you understand all the expectations, medical policies? It just runs you through all the things we talked about today, and you'll fill that out. Once you're done with the Tusker Travels application, there is a link here for character references. So students need to Schoology message their teachers and send them this link. It could be one sentence. Hi, Miss Woolsey, can you please fill out this link? I'm looking to go to Italy. Most of the teachers in the building are aware of it. They've probably filled one out before. It takes them just a couple minutes. So you just copy this link and Schoology message it to a teacher asking them to complete it, and you just send it to 3 teachers. So please make sure we have a lot of students that enroll, but don't do all 3 steps, and then you'll get my emails kind of hounding you to get all the extra pieces completed. But again, when we're talking about the enrollment process, it's first lock in your pricing with EF, sign up with EF, then circle back to the Tusker Travels application and then do the references. All right, but what's most important, especially if you're looking to go to Costa Rica, that you get that tour company enrollment form in by the end of the month, by the 27th of October. For the other trips, not as necessarily imperative, but the pricing does change on the 31st. You lose that discount. And again, Italy, Greece is flying very fast. And then circle back to the Tusker Travels and the references. All right, the EF phone number is here if you need it. You also have our email. It's on our website. It's contact@tuskertravels.org, or if you want to direct it to one of us specifically, it's our last name at tuskertravels.org. I'm pretty quick at responding to emails if you have a question. If you want to speak on the phone privately about this before you enroll, just send us an email and we'll set up a time. We're happy to do that as well. If you go to our website, there's a lot of other things that you might want to take a look at. So over here in this drop down is in pictures and videos from past trips, FAQs, reviews from parents and students. And if you click on tour companies, you'll get more information about EF Tours, who we use to partner with now. So everything you might need is here. There's EF Tours, the company website, the booking conditions, the handbook, the policies, it's all here for you. Also too, in the Apply Now tab is that application, like I said before, which gives you all 3 steps.
Chrissy, someone had a question about whether there was a payment plan that was kind of more free form. I believe that there is, correct? That you can pick
Yes.
like,
I would say the manual plan. This is the booking conditions for EF. The manual plan is probably the best case scenario for that option. It is, oh, and here's the 2 different the cancellation policies if you need it. But the manual plan here, you don't have to pay in full. You can pay in different increments, different amounts, but there's a couple set deadlines. Specifically, the first payment of 500 is due in 30 days. A second payment of 500 is due in 90. And then the rest is due at 110. So you have more flexibility to pay in different chunks, but there is those 3 deadlines you do have to meet.
You have to
Okay,
pay it in
that's good to
full a
know.
little earlier with
Yes.
the manual.
Oh, okay.
But there is information here about the automatic payment plan. And if you have to cancel for any reason, it does talk more about the standard policy, or if you have that higher package, those are in here as well. All right, so that was the majority of it. What questions do we have? Feel free to unmute yourself or type them in the chat. We've done some similar itineraries, so if you look at our pictures and videos, there's probably some up there.
Greece was one of my favorite trips ever.
I loved it too.
We
Also, if
have,
your child has any questions, we're in the schools. They can just come to us and ask if they had any specific questions, recommendations for which trips, etc. We're here.
yes.
People had questions about how many spots are left. Costa Rica has room, but it's soon.
Costa Rica is a smaller group. We're in the 6 to 10 range, a smaller niche group, which to be honest is sometimes a little nicer than having the big bus.
That's
The
how we did it for Thailand. It
large
was so
trip.
much
Yeah,
fun.
Thailand, we had 4. Scotland, Ireland, we had 9 or 11. I love the kind of smaller groups because you really get to know the kids a little bit better.
Paris only has 2, right?
2 spots left.
2
Two-
spots left for
Paris
Paris.
has 2 spots left.
So, sorry, how many slots for the Costa Rica trip overall? How many kids are going?
We can
Oh.
take 40. So
We-
the max bus size, I believe, is 35 to 40. But right now it's just a smaller group of about 6 to 10. But we
Gotcha.
can take a good chunk more if kids sign up, but at the same time, we don't need to have a full bus. Chaperones for Costa Rica are going to be myself and Mrs. Brooks. Yeah, but Paris has 2 left, and then Italy, Greece, I think we're at 25 left because we had a whole bunch of kids sign up in the last day or 2. Yep. And if you have any questions about how many spots are, left because you're still, deciding, especially for the Paris one, you can just send us an email and we can check in the moment and see where we're at. I also wanted to mention here, if you have anybody who's interested in sending their child but didn't make the meeting, if you go to informational meetings, you'll see right here that was our next meeting date tonight or tomorrow. I will update this. And I will insert the video recording of this meeting here for anybody that needs it. And I'll also send it to you in the email later on.
So there's a question about the protection plan. The one that comes with the trip covers a standard sort of insurance or protection. The upgraded one lets you cancel at any moment. I send my son in these trips and I had to cancel, I think it was maybe a month out before the trip, and I got all my money back except the supplemental fees and the deposit. But it was because I upgraded to the better insurance. And I don't mean to say better, it just means you never know what's going to happen. So the standard insurance, you really can't cancel that quick and that close out to the date. I think it's maybe 110 days out from the trip. If you try and cancel then, you're going to lose a big chunk of your money.
So I put on the screen in the link in the chat. I'll put it in one more time. These are the different protection plans. You can get them through our website too. But specifically the pricing, the cancellation's different. You can cancel for any reason with the higher package. You also get a higher percentage of your payment back with the higher plan. Please know if you do cancel, you do lose the $95 enrollment fee and you lose the insurance cost, but you can recover everything else. But that is if you cancel after the 7 days. So right now, risk-free enrollment for 7 days. And all you need to do to lock in your spot is $95. And the reason why on here it says the higher protection plan is $590, that's because we already include the $190 in the cost of the tour. So you're just going to be paying the difference of $400 when you add on the second level of protection. So all of the pricing that I put up on the screen today has that lower cost in there. Oh, so if your credit card has travel insurance, does that count? So I don't exactly, so I know that through your own credit card or even through like your own medical insurance, you can use that to process if there's any incidents that happen on tour. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'm not sure what cards, if any of my cards have it. What's really nice with EF is we've had or heard of stories where kids get, oh, beautiful, kids get sick. EF has actually flown parents during the COVID time to the location that we were at to stay with their child. If there's any major serious hospitalizations necessary, the insurance package will cover parents to fly out there and meet their child and fly back with them. So the cost of the lower one is, oh, perfect, is included. So everyone is getting that standard protection plan. It's just a matter of if you want to upgrade. So I would look at the differences between the two. It's primarily the cancel for any reason. That's the biggest difference. So if your credit card has other travel related insurance built into it, especially when it comes to lost luggage and things like that, then you might not need to. It's really just that being able to cancel at any time and to give you
To be honest with you, I don't think EF is going to give you your money back because you have travel insurance. You would need the travel insurance through EF. That's what I'm assuming.
Yep, and we do include it. So it's just a matter of what percentage of your cost.
I have flown on a flight that they arranged for me back when I like planned tours years ago, and they arranged a flight for me, and the flight had like something was going on the ground and we had to like pop back up and go to another airport. They called me on the flight knowing that I was like stuck on the tarmac and were like, how can we help you? And they ended up getting me a rental car when no one could find a rental car at the new place. They're very hands-on. I didn't even call them, they called me. So there's some really great things about their services and their attention to detail that have been the reason why we stayed with them.
So when you fill out the tour company enrollment form, it'll ask you about which payment plan protection plan you want, and you can read more details about them there. Also, while we're talking, I figure I might as well spin this wheel one more time. Okay,
You're
if
real
the
happy.
child's already left, I know. Well, I mean, I pretty much
really happy.
Because, why not give parents more discounts, right? I'm always about going EF. Can we give another
Dylan.
Dylan? Luca. And also too, if you RSVP'd on the open house or the homecoming game, I'll get you another 50 as well once you enroll. And let's just do one more. Let's let them tell me no. They didn't give me a quota of how many I can spin. Nikki Duffy.
All right.
He deserves it.
He gets the alumni trip too.
Oh, that's a great point. Okay, so I saw a couple questions come up. Do you have to apply on Tusker Travel per trip? The answer is yes. You're going to fill out the Tusker Travels application each time. However, after you've traveled with us once, you don't need to do the character references. Can we upgrade to the travel protection plan later? You have a time window. I will find out exactly how long. I would imagine it's about 7 days. I will email that to our rep and let you know within the next 24 hours. Can you add a higher protection after, and how long after? I would imagine it's got to be at least about 7 days. Which trip, Mrs. Sessa, are you looking to do? Just so I know if we're in a real urgent rush for that answer. Is it Italy? Okay. I will text him tonight. He's pretty good about answer. I've gotten to the point now where we text on a nightly basis. He's pretty quick to answer me. I will ask that tonight and let you know hopefully by tomorrow. But I wouldn't worry about getting a spot for tonight. It will not fill up, I don't think. If it does start to really get close, I will email you tonight. Can we switch traveler to another sibling? Ooh, that has happened before. Yes, you can. That has happened multiple times, actually.
That has to be done through EF.
Yes, you would call EF and switch it. Yep, that happened to a few people. Also, I wanted to mention too, if your traveler is coming to, let's say, Costa Rica and then also going on another tour, once your child gets back from the first trip, you automatically get another $100 discount on your other enrolled trip. And if you have siblings going on the same tour, so 2 kids going to Italy, send me a message. I can get you another $100. They don't really tell me no often, so I just constantly ask for more discounts. So I've gotten that agreement where if you have siblings on the same trip, $100 off the second sibling. But yes, you can switch travelers to another sibling. It's also pretty easy to switch travelers to a different tour in the same year, but if you're switching to a different year, it gets quite complicated. A little more complicated.
Are there any other questions for us? And thank you very much, all of you, for coming. We really appreciate it. And we live for this. We love this. It's the ultimate classroom, and we really, really enjoy it.
All right. I'm going to end the recording, but if anyone wants to stay on and ask any more questions, we're happy to do so. But I'm going to end this for now, the recording itself.